Listen to me right now. Life has a funny way of testing us. People come into our lives and sometimes they leave, and when they walk away, it hurts. It feels like a piece of your soul just got ripped out, like the air you were breathing suddenly got heavy. But here's the truth. That pain is not the end. That pain is an invitation. It's the universe saying, now it's time. Now it's your turn. Rise. When someone leaves you, when someone breaks you, when someone tells you that you're not enough for them, don't crumble into that story. Don't make that rejection your identity. You know what you do, you use it. You take that wound and you make it your fuel. You decide, I'm going to change so much, grow so much, transform so much that the person who left me will one day look back and say, I lost the greatest thing I ever had. Not because you want revenge, not because you want their attention, but because you finally realized who you are, because you decided to own your life, not shrink for someone else's approval. Change doesn't start with them, it starts with you. If you're waiting for them to come back before you rise, you'll stay broken. If you're waiting for closure, you'll stay stuck. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to hand you your power. You have to take it back. You have to look in the mirror and say, enough. I'm not staying the same. I'm not living small. I'm not begging anyone to see my value. I will rebuild. I will rise. I will become unrecognizable to the version of me who once cried for them. The greatest revenge is not anger. The greatest revenge is not begging them to come back. The greatest revenge is massive success. The greatest revenge is walking into a room and no longer needing them. The greatest revenge is radiating confidence so strong that people ask, what happened to you? You're glowing. You're unstoppable. Every heartbreak can either destroy you or build you. And the difference is the story you tell yourself. Stop telling yourself, they left me because I wasn't good enough. No. They left because your journey required something bigger. They left so you could find yourself. They left so you could rise into your greatness. You want them to miss you. Don't chase them. Don't stalk their social media. Don't drown yourself in pain hoping they'll notice. You want them to miss you. Change so much they wouldn't even recognize the version of you they left behind. Build a life so full, so abundant, so powerful that their absence doesn't define you. It refines you. Listen, stop playing small. Stop hiding your light because someone didn't value it. Stop waiting for someone to validate you. You are not defined by who left. You are defined by who you choose to become after they're gone. Turn your pain into strength. Turn your heartbreak into hunger. Turn your rejection into reinvention. And when you do, you won't just make them miss you. You'll make the world stop and take notice. Because the truth is, the goal is not to get them back. The goal is to get yourself back. The goal is to rise so high, live so bold, shine so bright that the person who left you won't even be able to reach the level you're on anymore. So decide today. Decide that your future is not going to look like your past. Decide that you're not going to shrink, not going to beg, not going to chase. Decide that you're going to grow, transform, evolve, and become so powerful that the person who left you will wonder every single day, how did I ever walk away from that? When life throws you into the fire of rejection, it often feels like everything is collapsing around you. The moment someone you trusted, someone you gave your heart to, walks away, it feels like the ground beneath you has been stolen. You ask yourself questions that eat you alive. Was I not enough? Did I fail? Was I not worthy of love? And those questions can create a storm inside your mind that makes you forget who you are. But here is the deeper truth. Rejection is not the end, it's a spark. It's a signal. It's the universe's way of telling you that it is time to rise, time to evolve, time to step into a version of yourself that you didn't even know existed. Pain is not punishment, it is preparation. The sting of rejection is not here to destroy you. It's here to ignite you. Every single great transformation in history, every remarkable story of triumph, was born in a moment of pain. Think about it. When someone is comfortable, when life is smooth, when everything is going right, there is no urgency to change, no drive to grow, no hunger to evolve. But when you get rejected, when you feel abandoned, when you face loss, That is when something shifts inside you. That is when you find the strength you never thought you had. That is when you discover the fire that pushes you forward. Rejection becomes the raw material for reinvention. It is the breaking that allows the rebuilding. It is the ending that opens the doorway to an entirely new beginning. You may not see it now, because pain has a way of blinding us. Right now, you might feel like all you've lost is everything. But one day, you will look back at this exact moment and realize that it was not the end of your story. It was the birth of a new chapter. This chapter is not about who left you. It's about who you become after they're gone. It's about how you take the ashes of what was and build something greater than you ever imagined. That rejection is not a period at the end of your sentence. It's a comma, a pause, before the next rise. When someone rejects you, they're not defining your value. They're exposing their inability to see it. Think about it like this. When someone can't appreciate gold, does that make gold worthless? No. Gold is still gold whether someone recognizes its worth or not. In the same way, your value does not diminish because someone failed to honor it. What rejection really does is highlight areas in your life where you were relying on external validation. It shines a light on the fact that maybe, just maybe, you've been giving your power away, letting someone else's acceptance dictate your worth. And when they walk away, it feels like they've taken your identity with them. But in reality, all they did was hand you back the power you had given them. Now it's in your hands again. Now you get to decide who you are without anyone else's approval. Rejection hurts because it feels like loss. But what if it's not loss at all? What if rejection is actually redirection? What if it's not the universe closing a door on you, but rather opening a better one that you couldn't see because you were too focused on the wrong thing? Think about how many times in your life something you wanted didn't work out, and at first you were devastated, but later you realized it was the best thing that ever happened to you. That's what rejection really is. A divine setup for something greater, a detour that leads to the destination you were meant for all along. And if you hold on to that perspective, you will begin to see rejection not as the end, but as the spark for your next break. Through the pain of being left behind can either paralyze you or propel you. The choice is yours. You can allow it to chain you to the past, constantly replaying what went wrong, constantly drowning in self-doubt, or you can allow it to push you into growth, into self-discovery, into becoming the person you've always had the potential to be. Growth hurts, yes, but so does staying stuck. And the difference is that the pain of growth leads to power, while the pain of staying stuck leads to regret. Which one will you choose? Understand this. The person who left you does not control your destiny. They may have played a role in your story, but they are not the author of it. You are. And this rejection is simply a plot twist, not the final chapter. It is a tool, a catalyst, a spark that forces you to break free from limitations you didn't even know you had. Use that spark. Let it burn away the old patterns that no longer serve you. Let it ignite the fire inside you to rise higher, dream bigger, and live bolder. Let it push you to change so profoundly that even you don't recognize the person you used to be. Every time you feel that sting, every time the memory creeps back in and tries to pull you down, remember this. Diamonds are created under pressure, gold is purified by fire, and strong souls are forged in rejection. If you can endure this, if you can embrace this, if you can turn this pain into purpose, you will emerge not only stronger, but unstoppable. You will become a person so powerful, so radiant, so alive that the one who rejected you will look back and realize they didn't break you. They built you. When you are waiting for someone to come back, when you are waiting for someone to finally give you the closure you crave, you are putting your life on pause. You are handing them the pen to write your story when in reality it was never theirs to write. So many people stay trapped not because of what happened to them, but because they keep replaying it, hoping one day the answers will appear. They wait for that call, that apology, that explanation, thinking it will free them. But closure doesn't come from someone else's words. Closure comes when you decide that you will no longer let what happened define who you are. Waiting keeps you stuck in chains. Taking your power back sets you free. The truth is, nobody can give you the peace you are waiting for. You might think if only they told you why, if only they admitted their mistake, if only they came back, you could finally move on. But even if they did, even if they stood in front of you today and poured out everything you wanted to hear, that peace would still be temporary. Because closure doesn't live in their mouth, it lives in your heart. It's the moment you say to yourself, I don't need their permission to heal. I don't need their approval to rise. I don't need their words to decide who I am. Taking your power back is about shifting the focus. Instead of asking, why did they leave, start asking, what can I learn? Instead of saying, why did this happen to me, start saying, how can this happen for me? That simple shift turns you from a victim into the creator of your own destiny. Because life doesn't change when people give you answers. Life changes when you decide to give yourself new meaning. Imagine this. You're carrying a heavy backpack filled with all the weight of their decisions, their rejection, their silence, their absence. Every day you wake up and strap it on, wondering why it feels so hard to move forward, and yet the backpack was never yours to carry. You're walking around with burdens that don't belong to you, waiting for them to come back and take it off your shoulders. But what if you simply set it down? What if you decided that you're done carrying what doesn't serve you? That's what taking your power back looks like. It's choosing to let go of what isn't yours and standing tall in your own strength. We have been conditioned to believe that healing requires someone else's participation. But healing is an inside job. You don't need them to speak for you to find peace. You don't need them to admit they were wrong for you to grow stronger. You don't need them to validate your worth for you to feel valuable. Healing happens when you stop giving away your control and decide that this moment, this exact moment, is the beginning of your transformation. Think about every great leader, every powerful soul who has turned pain into greatness. None of them were given closure by the people who hurt them. They didn't rise because someone apologized. They rose because they made a decision to stop waiting, a decision to stop bleeding for people who walked away, a decision to take the broken pieces and build something greater. That's how power is reclaimed, not in waiting, but in acting. Taking your power back doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It means refusing to stay in the prison of the past. It means saying, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was rejected. Yes, I was left behind, but I will not live in that story any longer. It means no longer letting the wound control your future. The scar can remain, but the story shifts from pain to purpose. When you stop waiting for closure, something beautiful happens. You begin to create momentum. You realize that every moment you've spent waiting has been a moment wasted on someone else's choice instead of your own. But once you decide to move, to grow, to build, you reclaim not just your power, but your time. Time is the most precious thing you have, and every second you waste waiting for them is a second you could be using to build yourself into someone unstoppable. Taking your power back is about ownership. Own your growth, own your healing, own your future. The person who left may have had control over the past, but they have no control over who you become now. You don't rise by holding on. You rise by letting go. You rise by making a decision so powerful that no rejection, no silence, no abandonment can keep you from becoming who you were always meant to be. Because in the end, waiting for closure is waiting for permission, and no one has the right to give you permission to live your life but you. You don't need their words to write your new chapter. You don't need their approval to shine. You don't need their love to feel whole. The power you're searching for was never lost. It was just waiting for you to claim it. And the moment you stop waiting and start owning your life, that is the moment you truly rise. The greatest revenge is not found in anger, not found in shouting, not found in trying to prove to someone that they made a mistake. The greatest revenge is found in the silent, undeniable power of transformation. When people expect you to stay broken, when they expect you to remain stuck in the pain they caused, when they believe their rejection defined your ceiling, there is no answer more powerful than rising so high that you no longer need their validation. Success, growth, and unshakable confidence speak louder than any words you could ever say. Imagine the moment when the very people who thought you would never get back up see you standing taller, shining brighter, living freer than ever before. That is revenge, not the kind that poisons your heart, but the kind that heals your soul and shows the world who you truly are. Anger may feel satisfying in the short term. It may feel like throwing words back at them will balance the scales, like giving them the same pain will make it fair. But anger never gives you peace. Anger keeps you connected to them, keeps the wound fresh, keeps you locked in the same prison of hurt. Success, on the other hand, breaks the chain. Success is not just about money, not just about external achievements, but about becoming so whole, so confident, so certain in yourself that no one can touch your spirit again. That is the kind of success that makes them stop and question how they ever underestimated you. That is the kind of success that makes them realize they walked away from something. Priceless confidence is the part that scares people the most, because real confidence cannot be faked. Real confidence comes from the inside out. It is not about posting a picture to make them jealous. It is not about pretending you are happy when you are broken inside. It is about doing the work on yourself until you no longer need their attention to feel alive. True confidence is waking up and knowing your worth regardless of who stayed or who left. It is walking into a room without the need to prove anything, because you already know you are enough. And when you reach that level, people who once doubted you, left you, or rejected you can feel the difference without you having to say a single word. Revenge through success is not about them. It is about you. It is about taking back everything you gave away. It is about reclaiming the parts of yourself that you abandoned while trying to keep them in your life. When you stop chasing them, you start chasing growth. When you stop begging for their love, you start building yourself love. When you stop waiting for their approval, you start unlocking your potential. That shift is what makes you unstoppable. The person they left behind is not the same person they will see again, because that person no longer needs them. That person has rebuilt, evolved, and transformed into someone who radiates strength. Think about how powerful it is to walk into a situation where once you felt small and no longer feel triggered. Think about meeting people who once looked down on you and realizing you no longer crave their recognition. Think about the freedom of not needing to prove your worth to anyone because you already know it. That is the kind of success that cannot be taken from you, because it is rooted in who you are, not in what someone else thinks of you. And that kind of success is the greatest answer to rejection, because it turns your pain into undeniable proof that nothing and no one has the power to keep you down every time you want to lash out. Every time you want to post something just to get their attention, remind yourself that real power does not scream, it shines. Real power does not need to chase, it attracts. Real power does not need to make them jealous, it makes them wonder. And the way you build that power is through relentless growth, through investing in yourself, through choosing every single day to rise above the bitterness and step into your best self. The world does not remember those who stayed angry. It remembers those who turned their wounds into wisdom, their heartbreak into hunger, their rejection into reinvention. The greatest revenge is not found in proving them wrong, but in proving yourself right. It is living the life you once thought was impossible. It is finding joy in places you thought you had lost forever. It is surrounding yourself with people who lift you higher instead of those who left you behind. It is waking up one day and realizing you don't even think about them anymore, because your life is so full, so rich, so aligned with who you are meant to be, that their absence feels like a blessing. That moment, that feeling, that freedom is worth more than any apology, any explanation, any closure they could have given you when you step into that version of yourself. When you rise with such undeniable confidence and success, the tables turn. The person who left you will look back, not because you chased them, but because they cannot ignore the transformation. They will miss the old you, but they won't even recognize the new you. And that is the sweetest revenge, not that you made them regret, but that you no longer care whether they do or not. The power is no longer in their hands, it's in yours, and you carry it with a confidence that can never be broken again. When someone leaves, the natural instinct is to chase. It is human nature to want answers, to want their presence back, to want to prove that we are still worth it. We check our phones waiting for a message, we replay conversations in our heads, we search their social media hoping for signs, we waste hours and days thinking of ways to get their attention back. But chasing only weakens you. Chasing drains your energy, lowers your value, and convinces your mind that your worth is tied to their return. You cannot heal by running after the one who walked away. You cannot rise by investing your energy into a door that has already closed. The power comes when you stop chasing them and start chasing your growth. When you stop trying to build your life around someone else and instead build a life so full, so vibrant, so meaningful that you no longer care if they notice or not. Building a full life means focusing on every area of yourself that you once neglected. Maybe you stopped pursuing your passions while you were with them. Maybe you forgot about your own dreams because you were too focused on theirs. Maybe you lost your sense of identity while trying to fit into their world. Now is the time to reclaim that. Pour into yourself with the same intensity you once poured into them. Take the time to strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, expand your skills, deepen your relationships, grow your finances, and connect with your spirit. The more you invest in yourself, the less space there is for emptiness, and the less need there is for anyone else to complete you. A full life doesn't wait for someone else to validate it. A full life radiates so strongly that people feel the energy when you walk into the room. Stop asking, "What are they doing without me?" and start asking, "What can I create without them?" That shift will change everything. When your focus shifts from chasing them to chasing excellence, your entire reality begins to transform. You start to notice opportunities you once ignored, people who inspire you, and experiences that bring you joy. You no longer feel trapped by their absence because your presence in your own life is finally enough. You realize that the person who left may have taken themselves out of your story, but they did not take your future. They did not take your potential. They did not take your ability to rise. That is still yours. Think about it. When someone looks at you after a breakup, what do they expect? They expect to see you broken, bitter, crying, begging, shrinking. They expect to see you stuck in the past, unable to move forward. But imagine instead they look at you and see someone thriving. They see someone who looks healthier, happier, more confident, more alive. They see someone who didn't collapse when they left, but rather someone who used that moment as fuel to rise. That is power, that is impact, that is transformation. You don't have to say a word, you don't have to send them a message. You don't have to prove anything. Your growth speaks louder than any words could ever speak. Chasing them says, "My life is empty without you." Building yourself says, "My life is overflowing with or without you." Which one do you think creates more respect? Which one do you think creates more power? Which one do you think makes them realize what they lost? People are not drawn to desperation, they are drawn to strength. People are not attracted to neediness, they are attracted to wholeness. And when you stop chasing, you stop leaking energy and start radiating it. You begin to create a life so magnetic, so fulfilling, so inspiring that they can't ignore your growth, even if they wanted to. This is not about pretending you are okay when you are not. This is not about faking happiness to get their attention. This is about doing the deep work. This is about sitting with your pain long enough to understand it, and then choosing to rise above it. This is about committing to yourself the way you once committed to them. This is about no longer waiting for someone else to build you up because you are building yourself. And when you do this consistently, brick by brick, day by day, the results will show. You will feel it in your energy. Others will see it in your actions. And eventually, even the person who left will not be able to deny the transformation. Imagine waking up in the morning, not with thoughts of what they are doing, but with thoughts of what you are creating. Imagine ending your day not with sadness over who isn't beside you, but with gratitude for the progress you are making. Imagine looking in the mirror and realizing you don't even recognize the person you once were. The one who begged, the one who cried, the one who chased. Instead, you see someone stronger, someone bolder, someone who took control of their life. That is what happens when you stop chasing them and start building yourself. The energy of desperation pushes people away, but the energy of abundance pulls everything toward you. When you are full of life, full of purpose, full of passion, you naturally attract more opportunities, better relationships, deeper love. And ironically, it is often in that moment, when you no longer need them, that the person who left begins to notice you again. But by then, the truth is clear. You don't even care whether they do or not, because your life is so rich without them. You realize that the goal was never to make them come back, but to make yourself whole again. And in the process, you discover that what you built is far more valuable than what you lost. Your growth becomes undeniable. Your success becomes visible. Your energy becomes magnetic. And while they are watching, while they are wondering, while they are regretting, you are simply living. You're not chasing, not begging, not proving, just living fully, completely, unapologetically. That is the greatest shift you can ever make. That is the power of choosing yourself over chasing someone else. The goal isn't to get them back, it's to get yourself back. When someone leaves, it is easy to make their absence the center of your story. You start believing that everything you do, every change you make, every improvement you chase, should somehow prove to them that you are worth coming back for. You tell yourself that the transformation is for them, the success is for them, the growth is for them, but in reality, that mindset only keeps you tied to their decision. The real breakthrough happens when you realize that none of this is about them. The healing, the rebuilding, the growth. It is all about reclaiming the version of yourself that you abandoned while trying to hold on to them. It is about looking in the mirror and recognizing the person you used to be before you gave away your power, before you compromised your worth, before you forgot who you are. When love ends, often what really hurts isn't the loss of the other person, but the loss of ourselves in the process. Somewhere along the way, you started adjusting your dreams to fit theirs. Somewhere along the way, you started silencing your needs to keep them happy. Somewhere along the way, you stopped listening to your own voice because theirs grew louder. So when they leave, it feels like emptiness, but the truth is that emptiness was created long before they walked away. It was created the moment you began to trade your identity for their approval. Getting yourself back means filling that emptiness not with another person, not with distractions, but with your own voice, your own vision, your own truth. You don't heal by convincing them to return. You heal by returning to yourself. That means rediscovering the passions you put aside, reigniting the dreams you buried, reconnecting with the values you compromised. It means remembering the strength you had before you let someone convince you that you weren't enough. It means honoring yourself in ways you never did when you were too busy trying to hold them close. You get yourself back by choosing you every single day, in every single decision, in every single moment. And when you start doing that, something shifts. You begin to feel whole again, not because someone filled the space, but because you filled it with yourself. The pursuit of getting them back keeps you trapped in the past. It ties your future to their choices, their mistakes, their absence. But the pursuit of getting yourself back unlocks freedom. It gives you the power to create a future that no one can take away from you. It gives you control over your own happiness, your own growth, your own destiny. You stop being a prisoner of what they did and start being the architect of what you will become. And in that process, you discover that you don't actually need them to come back, because the version of you that is rising is far too powerful to be defined by anyone's presence or absence. Think about the times when you felt alive before they ever came into your life. Think about the laughter you shared with friends, the goals you chased, the things you loved doing simply because they mattered to you. That version of you still exists. That version of you is waiting to be uncovered, to be remembered, to be celebrated. But now you have the chance to not just return to who you were, but to go even further. You get to rebuild yourself with the wisdom of experience, with the strength of survival, with the hunger of someone who knows what it's like to lose themselves and refuses to do it again. Getting yourself back is not about going backward. It's about moving forward into the highest version of who you were always meant to be. The irony is this: when you chase them, you lose yourself. When you chase yourself, you no longer need them. And that's when life changes, because the kind of strength, confidence, and clarity that comes from rediscovering yourself is magnetic. It draws opportunities, it draws new relationships, it draws success, but most importantly, it draws peace. Peace that cannot be shaken by someone leaving. Peace that cannot be broken by rejection. Peace that comes from knowing you are whole, no matter who stays or who goes. Every step you take toward yourself is a step toward freedom. Every habit you build, every boundary you set, every goal you achieve is a piece of you returning. You start to see yourself in the mirror not as the person who was left behind, but as the person who stood back up. You start to walk into rooms with the kind of energy that says, "I know who I am," instead of "please see me." You start to attract not because you are chasing, but because you are overflowing with self-respect and self-love. That is what it means to get yourself back. You no longer need external validation to feel alive, because you already know you are enough. The person who left may miss you one day. They may regret, they may wonder, but by the time that happens, you will have already outgrown the version of yourself that once needed them. You won't even crave their attention anymore, because you will have built a life so full of meaning, passion, and strength that their presence or absence doesn't define your happiness. You will have found yourself again, and once you do, you'll never be willing to lose yourself for anyone ever again. Getting yourself back is the ultimate victory. It is the ultimate freedom. It is the realization that the love you were searching for in them was really the love you needed to give to yourself. And when you finally give it, when you finally choose you, when you finally rise for your own sake and not for theirs, you become unstoppable. You stop living in the shadows of what was lost and start living in the light of what you have found. And what you have found is you, the strongest, most powerful, most authentic version of you that has always been waiting to come alive.